What is going on, everyone? Dan here with Tech Marketer with your weekly newsletter here again. So, kind of want to follow up on last week's more practical advice again and kind of walk into uh, how to use the service pipeline inside of AgencyZoom specifically. So, this is a question that comes up a lot. I see it in the groups. I have people ask me, message me, whatever, saying, "Hey, I have the Pro version or I have Service Center, but I don't know really how to use it, how best to use it. My team likes to do it inside of my AMS, blah 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 blah, whatever that is." So I want to walk you through just a quick way on how I prefer to set up the service pipeline and how I typically advocate for it. Now you can see the stages here on my screen. That's going to be pretty universal for just about everybody, but feel free to tweak them however you need to here. The purpose of this, like I did set this up strategically, and we'll talk about that here in just a second as well. Now, about the service pipeline, there's not really a ton of automation that's going to go out here, and that's fine, right? The service is when you really want that personal touch anyway with your client. So really the only automations that I build inside of here is inside of request received. I just have an email that goes out saying, "Hey, we received your request. If there's any additional info that we need, we'll reach out to you." Right? Very, very simple. You're acknowledging that the service request came in either via form, a text message, an email, whatever, different way that the request can come in. Waiting on client. Now, this is where you will build at least a couple emails. I typically send out three. And this is going to be when you are waiting on info, right? If they submitted a form, but they didn't get you the VIN for a vehicle change, right? Obviously, you're going to need that in order to process it. So you set that up for an email that goes out. "Hey, we're still waiting on this info." Manually send the first email saying what the info is that you need. Then move it into waiting on client, and the next one can go out at like day 3 if they haven't replied back with it yet. Send it out a few days later. Send it out again, and then on the last one, you're going to say, "Hey, this is the final notice. If we don't get whatever that info is by the end of today, then we're going to complete the service request. And if you need to still make that change, submit a new form and then link them to the form." Or, again, however you're getting service requests into your office. That's about the only way that you're really going to automate in there. Waiting on us, you can also call that in progress, if it's easier for you guys to understand or for your team to understand it. There's just going to be a couple tasks in there, just reminders. "Hey, this is still in here. Don't forget about it," type of stuff. Waiting on third party, just what it sounds like, right? If you're also putting your ENS stuff inside here and you send the request off and you're just waiting on them, or you can put that in a different pipeline as well, so it doesn't affect your reporting. That's perfectly fine. You also may have a request or a question for an underwriter at whatever your standard carrier is, if you can even do a certain request. So you're just waiting on them to reply, whatever that situation looks like, right? That's what all these are here for. So again, the automation is very limited, very light. You're going to be manually creating these service tickets, or creating them via automation if you've got a form or anything we've talked about. But the main purpose that I set this up for is for this service velocity report. It's my favorite report inside of AgencyZoom. So again, just under reports, services, service velocity, very, very easy to get to. So again, with a dummy account here, it's going to have very limited information in it, but I wanted to show you just kind of some of the highlights of it here. So up in this filter button here, you can see any service pipeline that you have, even renewals, are all going to be able to be checked in the service velocity report. You can go from stage to stage on what it is that you're looking for, filter it by service categories, tags, locations, whatever that is, time range. So the time frame is really cool, because if you implement a change, say today, in 3 months, you can go and check the reports month by month to see if that change you made is actually having a positive effect or not. So the kind of 3 places that I like to look here is this request received to completed. You'll see who all has service tickets in that time, how many tickets they've done, and the average time it takes them to get from point A to point B in your filters. So that's a good one. I also like doing this waiting on us or in progress to completed. And I like doing request received to waiting on us, right? Those 3 things give you an idea on how long it's taking your team to pick up the service request and put it in progress, how long it's taking them to go from in progress and actually finish the request and move it to completed, as well as that entire life cycle for the customer or your client, right? So you can kind of get an idea on how long it's taking each service request. And by being able to filter it out by service category, you can also see, hey, adding drivers takes this long, but adding an insured takes this long, or changing a vehicle or whatever that is. So you can kind of get an idea on what time it's going to take, or what time you can kind of expect each of those requests to be, so that after you get about a year's worth of data or so in this, you can also start scoring your clients to see who is costing you the most in service time. Is that, justified by the amount of premium they're paying, or do you have a renters only or an auto only that's had 6 service requests over the course of the year? Right, and that's cost you however much in service time compared to the revenue that they're bringing into the agency. So just some really, really cool pieces of information and pieces of data that you can look at here in order to get a good idea of the service portion of your agency. Because let's be real, service and claims are where your agency make their money, right? That's what your clients are coming to you for. They're coming to you for good service, and they're coming to you so that when you need to make a claim, you're there for them. So this allows you to track that they are in fact getting the service that you are expecting to be delivered to them and what they're expecting from you every single time. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Next week, I'm going to kind of keep this service center piece going, and I'm going to take a look at manually creating late pay tickets. I showed you previously how to automate that with Adapt. I'm going to show you how to do that manually as well on next week's newsletter. So take it easy. I will talk with you guys then.